But for now, let's bring Joe in and have a bit of a chat with the man himself, Joe Trinder. Welcome to the show. Good evening, sir.
Kia ora tātou.
Kia ora. Now, why don't you start, sir? Because this kind of starts with a group that you're involved with and a group that you organise called Elite Māori. Now, I take it that you've repurposed this saying that the right uses as a bit of an attack, those Elite Māori, and you've repurposed it for your own images. Tell us about what that is. What is Elite Māori? And that's where we'll just start. So give us a bit of an idea as to what this group is.
So what was happening on social media is I was getting slandered a lot as being this person called the Elite Māori, and evidently we're this nefarious group that have hoarded all the nation's wealth, but we can't make it on the NBR rich list. We're not there. But we're this sinister, evil group that are trying to take over our own country. So what I did is I started joking about it online, and I made up kind of a gang patch of it. And people really seemed to like it, and they were drawn to it. So I set up a Facebook group, and we got about 500 people come in. And so we decided that we were going to form a lobby group to kind of combat the incoming Atlas group that was starting to lobby here in Aotearoa, because we didn't have any defence against it.
So it's actually your desire is to have a think tank to combat the likes of the Atlas Network, or the likes of, Taxpayers Union, or the likes of these people who are putting out information. I do air quotes because a lot of it's just not. From a right-wing perspective, you made it known publicly that you sort of wanted to have an opposing voice in a think tank version of that, yeah?
Yeah, that was the what we had the plans for doing, yeah.
And in the last couple of days, I'm not sure actually exactly of the timeline, you have had interactions with someone identifying themselves as Hemi Wairua. Start the story from there. Start the story with what happened there with the t-shirts, and then we'll continue on.
So we had started to create some merchandise for this patch because it became really popular amongst people, and people wanting to wear it for Waitangi Day. And so I got this Facebook message from this character called Hemi Wairua. And he says, "Hey, look, Joe, really like the design. We really like it. We're going to, is it okay if we start to sell some merchandise?" And so what I didn't do is I just didn't respond to him, because something seemed off. He kind of had the back head of Stan Walker, and just things didn't quite add up. So I just didn't respond to him. And
so
then
the image he's using is a Stan Walker image. It's not a real photo.
No. And then what happened is he put it up on his own website. He started putting up the merchandise. And
so hang on, just for clarity, without permission, they started doing this. Hemi Wairua, kia ora whānau, and after dozens of requests from tangata whenua around Aotearoa, we have finally listed our controversial Māori Elite t-shirts on titiriti.com. Now, so many things to do with branding and theft there. Our design, yada, yada, yada. But this is Hemi Wairua's, and I'll do air quotes for that name as well, Facebook page selling these t-shirts. Yes, so just to pack out what you're saying and show people. Keep going, sir.
So he has a fully functional Shopify store. I haven't given this guy permission to use it. I haven't spoken to him. So I just let this play out because something just didn't smell right about it. There was just something off and I couldn't put my finger on it.
Right.
And then I get another message off him a couple of days later that he's going to give me a cut in the profits. So without responding, we had to have a bit of a meeting or hui with all the Māori Elite people just to figure out what we were going to do with this guy who kind of didn't ask for permission to use our patch.
I think you're being very generous saying kind of didn't ask permission. You mean didn't ask permission. You mean stole your design and started selling it themselves.
Yeah, that's probably more accurate.
Yeah, okay.
So
what
then,
happened? Yep, what happened then?
So I presented it to the group, and then some of the members just went out and they did a wee bit of investigation, and they contacted me the next morning, and things just didn't add up. And we've been infiltrated quite badly.
So when you say things didn't add up, expand on that. What did they find? What did they look at? Shall I? And if you've got any particular images you'd like me to bring up, I've got those Facebook images from yours. Tell me what to put up if you want to speak anything to it. But what was it that didn't add up? What did people find?
So, as you can see, this is Hemi Wairoa's Facebook page, and it looks really genuine. But what he had done is he had hijacked also Hori, the comedian. He had hijacked his Toitu Te Tiriti, which had a copyright on it, and he had just started printing off shirts for it, as well as our Elite Māori design. He had, in the photos on the left, you can see Māori leaders like Honi Harawira and just right there, and it would just came off as looking really genuinely about that they were a Te Tiriti supporter. But if you look up the top at the domain name that's there, tetiriti.com, well, that led straight to David Seymour's policies on the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi.
Okay, let's pause because we need to go through this. Because there's a few steps to get to it, lead straight to, isn't it? So if you go to tetiriti.com right now, let me just do that. Sorry. Let's just do this live on the radio. So if we go right now to tetiriti.com right now live, the site can't be reached. Everyone got that? However, if you go to tetiriti.com in the Wayback Machine, you can see that there is one record for it on the 12th of February, 4:46 a.m. If you click on that, you get this message that comes up, which says you're being redirected to treaty.nz. So tetiriti.com is no longer there. What happens there now, what did happen before they took it down, was it redirected you directly to the ACT Party website about their understanding of the treaty. So let's just paint this out again really, really clearly. And I'll use words that I believe, my honest held belief. You had an imposter, a fake account, attempt to steal your gear, sell it for a profit, and in doing so attract eyeballs to their website, which then drove people to the ACT website explaining what they want to do with the treaty articles. Is that fair? Have I been fair with that?
That's 100% correct. Yeah, that's fair.
So we thought earlier, you were thinking earlier and some others were thinking earlier that there was a direct connection to the Atlas network. I think it's fair to say, and I've had a look at this as well, is that there is an absolute direct connection to ACT. And we all know that ACT has a direct connection to the Atlas network, but from Elite Māori, we haven't yet seen, if I'm being fair, a direct line to the Atlas group. However, it is strange that this started to happen once you made public. You wanted to start up a lobby group to push back against the Atlas network. And as I said, we do know, everyone can look at David Seymour when he graduated the Atlas network's kind of leadership camp, that ACT do have a link to the Atlas network, or at least there's a straight line. So we want to be clear and fair. We haven't yet seen a direct line from Elite Māori to the Atlas network, but there is a straight line from Elite Māori, a subversive infiltration line from Elite Māori and your merchandise to the ACT Party to get your supporters' eyes on their treaty website. Correct me if I've got anything wrong. I just want everyone to be clear on what we're saying.
That's it. It's 100% correct.
And there's lots of footprints here to check out. If you go and type into, everyone should do this, type into Google tetiriti.store, S-T-O-R-E, just to confirm all of this. The first result that comes up goes to tatiriti.com collections, which is no longer there, but because there's a cache, it still turns up. So 3 days ago, tatiriti.com definitely was there, and that's been taken down. What else do we need to add in it? I guess I want to also go to some opinion-based stuff about why are they doing this. But have you heard from anyone? Have you spoken to anyone? Has anyone from the ACT Party reached out to you? Have you had any other information as to why? And if we're being fair, we'll have to say someone associated with the ACT Party has been trying to use you, your product, I guess your group, to drive people to their principles of the treaty referendum and information.
No one's come forward, and we're just quite confused about who is responsible for it. We're running an investigation. We've managed to find out that the domain name tatiriti.com is registered in Iceland.
Yep.
In some city called Reykjavik.
Reykjavik, the capital. Yep.
Yeah. But we can't figure out who this Hemi Wairoa character is. He's a mystery. And what they've done is they've just, since I released my TikTok, they've scrubbed everything. Like the website went down, the Facebook went down. They've scrubbed everything off the internet they possibly could.
But Wayback Machine and screenshots do a great job painting a picture. So I'm reminded of a story. I can't remember who it was, a wee while ago, decade or so ago. There was a National Party MB who used to phone up Talkback and call himself Hangi or something like that. And he used to put on an accent and he used to try and like talk up National Party issues or talk down Māori issues, like as a more than a useless idiot. He was basically a spy, wasn't he? So the question is, how much do ACT know about this? How much does David Seymour know about this? How much is this actually them trying to infiltrate your group? I mean, I don't want to go conspiratorial now, but there's a long list of evidence of political groups, police groups infiltrating things like peace groups and peace activist groups and Greenpeace groups because they want eyes on the inside to see what's going on. Do you feel that there's part of that involved in this, or is this just about getting your supporters' eyes on their treaty principles?
I suspected that there was a level of covert espionage being involved here, so that they could find out what our strategies and tactics were. How we were going to be submitting submissions at select committee when they come up for the principles of Treaty of Waitangi. And I also think that there was a covert effort to direct funds for merchandise back to themselves, as opposed to us receiving those funds.
So that means the ACT Party, or at the very least this person associated with the ACT Party, is raising money for either themselves or whatever the entity is by selling your merch.
Correct, yeah.
And Hori's merch. So stealing. So whoever it is.
Yes.
Now, if this has nothing to do with ACT, it is now absolutely imperative that David Seymour comes out and disassociates himself from this. Because what's happened is, at the very least, someone in the name of the ACT Party has been stealing to raise money and direct eyes for people onto their policy. That's the absolute basics of it. If it's nothing to do with ACT, then they need to come out and denounce it. And if it is something to do with ACT, we need to know more. Would that be fair, boys?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I feel for Hori. I mean, that's his brand, Toi Tū, and he's really proud of that. And here's someone who's come along, hijacked his merchandise, his brand, and tried to make profit out of it without getting the proper permissions or copyrights.
Yeah. Chewy, you've been quietly tapping away there in the background. What are your thoughts, my friend?
This reminds me of quite a bit of skullduggery. Well, obvious skullduggery, but what it reminds me of is, do you remember in the past couple of years, Taxpayer Union getting smacked for using false names to submit a barrage of official information inquiries?
Yeah.
Do you also remember them getting caught out registering groundswells?
Groundswell.
website.
Yeah.
Stop Three Waters, defend local democracy, the campaign to let dairies keep selling tobacco, all of these sort of things. They love to build like a fake grassroots movement, and they're always trying to register websites to kind of get that perception that it's an organic sort of movement. And like just in the New Zealand sort of space, that's kind of where my mind goes to. I mean, I've got nothing to back that up, of course. It's just, it reminded me of all of these other things that they've done. And we've been talking a lot this week about what is the purpose of Taxpayers Union? What are the links between Taxpayers Union and right-wing lobby groups? So, I don't know. I feel like that meme of that guy standing in front of the thing going, I don't know. But it seems to be happening. People are just fucking with, like, these guys love talking about, oh, we've got to defend democracy and it's one person, one vote and all of that sort of thing. And then behind the scenes, they're just fucking with that. It's not one person, one vote. It's who's got the biggest wheelbarrow of money and how can we put our finger on the scale to keep our opposition on the back foot. Do we have to stay legitimate? Not at all.
I'm just thinking
one of the tactics.
There's not much there. Yep, sorry, go, Joe.
One of the tactics that I've seen on the Twitter sphere is they like to pretend that we're all conspiracy theorists and we're wearing tinfoil hats. And whenever we mention the Atlas Network, we're out the gate and down the road. And I think that's their response to like credible information that people are bringing forward. And how can you disprove this? This is a deliberate attempt that's got evidence.
Yeah, the evidence is there's a connection to ACT, not to give them an out, but you know, I could have set that up and I could have done the redirection to the ACT website. That's what we need to find out. Who has set this up and why? Who set the redirection up? Is it some ACT fan who was stealing and then wanting people to go and read this, or was it the ACT party? So again, I would say David Seymour has to answer these questions. He needs to answer these questions with people who have got access to him, which are the reporters and the political reporters. Does he know anything about the Tutiriti.com website being redirected to the ACT referendum website? And if it's not to do with ACT, why all of a sudden is everyone running around cleaning it up? Because that to me, Chewy, sounds like an organization going, oh shit, quick, go. Because if it's some incel, to use that word again, sitting in his mother's basement, he don't give a fuck. I mean, he'll just leave it up. It doesn't bother him at all. But this feels like someone's been caught with their hand in the cookie jar, and someone who can possibly be identified. Because if you can't be identified, why would you be caring about cleaning it up? So it feels like something that's bigger to me. Again, like Chewy said, got no knowledge of that. But Occam's razor talks about the fewest number of assumptions to get to a conclusion. The fewest number of assumptions for me is an organization, be it TPU, be it ACT, be it someone else, has gone and tried to scrub the internet of this. I just don't get the same sense that some, singular activist wanting to do this would have the same urgency to get rid of stuff. So that's what I think. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I think.
Yep.
How are you going on it, Joe? Where do you lean, if anywhere?
I agree. It's an organization. I mean, they're scrubbing this off the internet within 12 to 24 hours. They're redirecting websites. You've got to log into your domain provider. You've got to set up redirects. This is your average kind of geek in his mum's closet or mum's garage. He ain't going to be acting that quick. This has got a feel of it's organized, and yeah.
Hey, one other thing. Are you actually selling these t-shirts yourself now?
Not yet. I'm about to get our merchandise, but Hemi had beaten me to it because I've only created the design recently. Yep. But Hemi had beaten me to the punch, and he had set up a Shopify store, and he was selling each shirt at $50 per shirt.
Yep, we sell our t-shirts for $50. I mean, I think that's a completely fair price. Just so you know, I was going to say where can we send people now to get them to start supporting you, but maybe what we should do is once you get that up and running, come back on and we can tell people and drive people to your site to buy some tops and stuff, or we can sell some stuff for you as well. We can do all of that stuff. We'll help you out and get it going because if you're going to design it, some ACT aligned, ACT adjacent, ACT party member, the party of business shouldn't be ripping people off to put money in their own pockets, Joe.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hey, before we move off, look, Spiderhoof wanted to say as well, Joe, this is about the idea of a think tank. A think tank as part of the resistance is a great idea. I'm not surprised David Seymour is part of the profiteering of stolen ideas. If it is David Seymour, we don't know that, but that's what people are saying. Thanks for the super chat there, Spides, and also DJ Danny Earl, Ngā mihi Joe, modern day Ngā Tamatoa. That's for you. And thank you for the super chat. Is there anything else in the chat, Chewy, that we want to get to before we let Joe go about this? Any questions come up or anything that we would particularly want to get to?
Just this one, just echoing what I said before. TPU has a history of using fake names to troll MPs and councils for official information requests, that sort of thing. So, yeah, glad I'm not the only mind that used the red string to go there.
Yeah, and look, there is definitely a connection here to ACT. Like, that's unquestionable. The only question we have is it an official connection, i.e., is it approved by ACT, or is it someone who's ACT adjacent? We need to know that from David Seymour. So David Seymour needs to be asked tomorrow about this, mainstream media, hope you're listening, and David Seymour needs to either denounce this as some rando out in the public or needs to mea culpa for ACT having their hand caught in the cookie jar. That's what I think. Anything else you want to leave us up with, Joe?
No, that's it. Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for your time.